Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the last course of writing paragraph for semester 1. Last week, we have discussed the body of a paragraph, also called the supporting sentences. Besides, we have also focused on the unity and the coherence within a paragraph. This course, we are going to deal with the narrative paragraph as well as the descriptive paragraph. Starting with the narrative paragraph, we have the following paragraph. The most embarrassing moment of my sophomore year was how I earned my nickname, Crash. It all started right after school when I turned onto the busiest street. First, I pulled up right behind this truck at a stop sign. After a second, a fellow older student told me that I was very close to that truck and that I was about to hit it. I was distracted, so I thought the long line of traffic had started to move, but unfortunately, it hadn't. In the blink of an eye, I hit the back of the truck in front of me. The devastation sunk in. I was so worried that I had damaged the truck, but all I did was scratch his bumper. Nevertheless, when the time came to check my car, it was destroyed. The, the hood was buckled, the front end was pushed back, and my headlights were broken. Humiliated and scared, I still had to drive my totaled car home. I never did hear the end of what had happened that day during my entire school year. First, we are going to start with focusing on the main point. Notice that to narrate is to tell a story or to talk about an incident. In academic writing, the writer may use an incident to illustrate a point. For example, if you are writing a paper about road accidents, you might use something similar to the paragraph stated before. Second, we have supporting the main point with an incident. Focusing on a particular incident. In narrative writing, the writer focuses on a particular incident to support the main point. The incident consists of events that are linked in time. All of the events given should support the controlling idea. Then we have giving background information. Sometimes the writer must give background information. They provide a context for the incident. It helps the reader understand the incident. So if you notice in the text before, we both have background information and a particular incident. Background information being that the writer had just come out of school, and a particular incident is the car crash. Now for explaining the main point. Sometimes the writer explains or analyzes the story. They may tell the significance or meaning of the story to comment on it. Often, they explain the story from the present perspective. List the necessary background information, like the writer already did, and write several sentences explaining the main point, like they did when they stated that they were standing in a line, they were not paying attention, and then they hit the truck in front of them. Then we have organizing by chronological order. In telling a narrative, a writer organizes the events in the story according to time. This organizational pattern is called chronological order. The writer gives the topic sentence, necessary background information, the story itself, and an explanation of the point. As you can see, we have the four components, which are the topic sentence, the background information, the story, and then the explanation. Now for show, don't tell. Don't tell the readers what they are supposed to think or feel. Let them see, hear, smell, and taste the experience directly, and let the sensory experience lead them to your intended thought or feeling. Showing is harder than telling. The rule of show, don't tell means that your job as a storyteller is not to interpret, but to select revealing details. As you can see in the paragraph before, we can feel the humiliation, the shame, and the fear of the rider. We can feel that they were scared after bumping the truck. We can feel that they were humiliated and they felt that they have done something wrong. Moving to cohesion, connecting words for narration. In narration, the writer needs to show the relationship of events in time. The writer can make the time clear by using either keywords that are prepositional phrases telling when, or subordinators in adverbial clauses of time. In addition to time relationships, the reader must also know the sequence of events, what happened first, second, and so forth. Words to indicate time relationships. You can see in the table in front of us, we have keywords. We have after, at noon, by that time, by then, during that time. And then we have subordinators such as while, when, as, whenever, before, after, until, as soon as. Words to indicate sequence are transitional words such as first, second, etc., next, later, suddenly, then, last, finally, now, etc. Now we move to the second part of this course, which is descriptive paragraph. When you are describing the way something looks, its physical appearance, it is not time, but space that is important. Therefore, you should arrange your sentences and details according to where the objects being described are located. This type of organization is called a spatial organization. In a descriptive paragraph, you must make the location of the objects being described very clear. In addition, in the case of describing a person, your reader should know that they know the person you are talking about through your description. The first half is writing about a place, and we have the following paragraph. When the upper limb of the sun disappears below the horizon, the brilliance of Mother Nature becomes apparent. On my left, across the lake, low-lying hills crawl upward across the horizon. In front of me, covered by a few trees, is a lonely, secluded island. It looks as if it were a boat attempting to escape to tranquil waters. On my right, the hills gradually turn to mountains. A tall and slender lodgepole pine minutely conceals them. Its finger-like branches delicately reach down towards the lake, trying to touch its reflection. High above me, moisture-laden clouds span out over the mountain tops, resembling a magenta-colored quilt. In front of me, a broadening division in the clouds crests with a final effort to avoid succumbing to the shroud of night. The ever-present island balances upon the waters, reflecting a perfect vision of the unblemished counterpart. It is a mirrored understatement of nature's true beauty. So it is a beautiful paragraph that paints a very, very beautiful and scenic picture, and we are going to analyze it by first focusing on the dominant impression. To describe is to tell what something looks like. When a writer describes a place, they try to create a picture in words so that the readers can see the place. In descriptive writing, the main idea is often a dominant impression. This latter is the main effect or impression the place has on the writer. The writer focuses on that impression and tries to communicate it to the reader. So, the paragraph we have just read is a very beautiful paragraph, like we have stated, and the impression that we get is that the writer has fallen in love with that place. They describe it beautifully, meticulously, using wonderful words, beautiful expressions, so we can see that the writer really, really likes that place, and we can get the expression from their description. Then, for the topic sentence, it should give the topic, the place you are describing, and the controlling idea, the dominant impression, idea, or attitude. So we have the description of an island, and like we said, the impression is that the writer really, really likes the island. Now for the supporting with descriptive details. In descriptive writing, the writer supports the dominant impression with descriptive details. They are concrete and specific. They are words that appeal to one of our four senses: sight, smell, touch, taste, or hearing. Here, mostly it appeals to our sight because we can imagine, along with the paragraph, the island that the writer is talking about. We move to organizing by a spatial arrangement. The writer must organize the supporting details according to a logical arrangement. Often, in descriptive writing, this arrangement is spatial. In a spatial organization, the writer first describes one part of the place, then moves on to describe another part of the place, and so on. Spatial relationships are often shown with keywords that are prepositional phrases. Words that indicate spatial relationships are above, or some of them are above, facing, under, on, across, from, against, on top of, along, in, outside of, around, inside, over, at, in front of, separated by, behind, below, surrounded by, beneath, next to, between, etc. So, for a descriptive paragraph, and when you are describing a place, you try to paint your impression and give your impression to the reader through your words. So, for example, in the exam, if I ever give you a descriptive paragraph, I should sense your expressions or your impressions through that paragraph. Whether you like the place, whether you are scared of the place, whether you want to visit the place again, whether you'd never want to set foot in there again. So, use your words to better up your description. Now we move to describing a person, and we have the following paragraph. As a child at the age of 2, my sister and I had pictures taken together. We are 10 months and 3 weeks apart. On this special family picture, we look identical. Our big dark blue and brown eyes and our wide happy smile resemble that of two calm little girls enjoying the moment with peaceful grins on their faces. Even in personalities, we match. We both are peaceful, helpful, playful, honest, and earnest. We both like baking sweets but dislike cooking. We are both excellent axe throwers, for we have had tons of practice at Grandpa's farm. We are shy at moments, but once you know us, we are very approachable and friendly. We both love wearing big flowy dresses, as cliche as it might sound. My sister and I can practically be the same person. So, when you are asked to describe someone, here are some things you should include. Physical description: age, gender, height, weight, coloring either of skin, eye, or hair, any unusual traits or characteristics. Then, background: where they were born, where they live, what their family is like, if they have siblings, pets, parents, etc., where they go to school, what their house is like, etc. Then, community: what organizations do they belong to, as like in groups or church or mosque or whatever, what jobs they have, what roles they play in their neighborhood or their communities. And then personality: likes and dislikes, hobbies, amusements, traits they may show, or inner traits they might not show, hopes and dreams, fears, aspirations, favorite things, etc. Next, we have appearance: style of clothing, manner of walking, color and style of hair, facial appearance, body shape, facial expressions, way of talking, etc. So, the writer is a painter with words, so their descriptions must be vivid but also coherent, logically arranged, so that the readers can clearly envision who is being described. If you are describing a person, first tell the readers how your person looks, list the person's physical features, and describe them. Second, describe the person's actions. Third, give an anecdote or incident that helps illustrate that person's character. And lastly, give a hint of what the narrator feels about the person. So that was a long course. Thank you for following the course with me today, and thank you for sticking around all semester. Next is the written exam, and I truly hope that you get the results you have worked for. Hopefully, I will see you sometime in other courses. Thank you again, and take care of each other.